I often come back to this story when I need to realign myself. The story brings me peace every time I read it, and I get lost in thought all over again. It's brand new each time I read it. People coming to the desert discovered that they are drinking from truth, he continued, and people become at peace with themselves because of this truth, this quiet. It's something that's built into the spirit of people, and it's waiting to be discovered, sometimes maybe without their knowing it. The nature around here, it's not me who built it or you. It's God, the all-knowing. This is the greatness of God, and it infects everyone who comes here. It's like me and Avner. We can sit one next to the other, sometimes without even talking, and it brings joy in common to both of us. It's the same with the desert. It finds a way to bring out peace. He began to tell a story. There was this American lady, he said, a dancer. She lost her husband to cancer. People told her, your husband will come back as another star, but he won't come here. You should go someplace open where you can see the sky. She went to Turkey and Greece, but she didn't find the other star. Then she came to Egypt. She stayed in Cairo for 3 days. She went to Luxor and Aswan. She went to St. Catherine's, then she came here. She stayed across the street under the trees in the oasis. She told me her story, and she said, here I am, and my husband is not coming. And every time she would see a falcon or a dove or another bird, she followed it. Maybe there's a message coming from the other star, she said, but nothing happened. I started to talk with her and tell her that the way to see that other star was not to wait for something to happen, but to build up her home in this area. And she would start to be at peace with herself and find something inside her, and that would be her other star. And she did this, but soon she discovered that life here is not so easy, not like dancing and singing as she was doing at home. Life is hard here. You have to work hard to collect food, to gather wood for the fire, to plant tomatoes or potatoes to get something to eat. But she did this work. She thought that she would physically find her way to the other star, and she was right. She used to write letters home, but once she reached here, she stopped writing. She found a new life, a quiet space in the corner, and this was the other star. And then something happened that made us know, Ramadan said. Her family didn't know what happened to her. She had disappeared, so they came to Cairo and searched for her. They asked about her and nobody knew. Finally, they published a note with her picture in a newspaper. The paper arrived here. Immediately, we understood what happened, and we called the reporter in Cairo. The day after, her parents came to see her. Come back home, they said. No, she said, I'm staying. Ramadan paused even longer than normal before adding, that is my answer for the first question you asked about the spiritual meaning of the desert. So what happened? I said. Is she still here? She stayed for half a year, he said, and now she's in Cairo for 2 months. It's too cold to stay in the shade, and she didn't want to stay in a room. She's left, but she's coming back. But why? I said, why did she do it? Because when she came here, she felt as if she was coming into her own home. That's because since the early times, the Sinai is the place that all the prophets and all the spiritual people are linked to. Everyone is home here. And why is that? Because everyone can find their other star here. Is that star out there? I said, pointing to the air, or in here? I pointed to my chest. He thought for a second. There are some things I don't know, he said. There are some things we might never know.